Hey everybody, I'm That One Guy, and I wanted to create a series of videos to go over the Weakauaras I've created. The whole purpose of the Weakauaras is obviously to help you better understand your spec and hopefully help you play better as a result, but also to gamify the game. Because WoW does present you with some spell alerts for the specs you play, but not all. And so that leaves you looking for ways to identify if a certain buff or debuff is active. And that's where Weakauaras can come in play. And I wanted to do more than just have an icon with a timer in it, right? I wanted to try to present you with visual effects that make it feel more like a video game and immerse you more into the spec you're playing. At least that's the idea. So in these videos, I'm going to go over the Weakauaras I've created, how I intend for them to work, and show you how you can modify them if you'd like. So whether you've already found my Weakauaras, or you're looking for some for a certain spec, or you just want to have a better idea of how Weakauaras work in general, hopefully these videos will help you with that. So we're going to finish up the mages. I did Fire and Arcane already, and this is going to be Frost. I finally got around to making a pack for Frost that has the functionality for Frostfire and for Spellslinger. So I'll show you all the Weakauaras and then kind of how it works at the end. Let's just jump into it. That's what it all looks like all together, but I'll tell you what everything is individually and then how you can kind of edit things if you'd like. So Brain Freeze. Again, I play with 0% spell opacity, so I recreate a lot of stuff, and the reason I do that is so that I can set conditions for it, like if I wanted to change colors to mean something different, or really just kind of change the size of it and location of it to fit other Weakauaras where I want them, without worrying about having any, overlap with the base UI that Blizz has, because you can't see it unless you proc it. So this way I can be in control of it. You can too. If you wanted to change the color of this or anything, you would go to the display tab. If it's in a group like this, right, where it's grouped up, you'll see a plus sign. You still go to the display tab and change the colors, right? And you can change it to whatever you like. So maybe you've always wanted your alerts and stuff for Frost to be red. Go for it. That's how you do it. Okay, Brain Freeze, Fingers of Frost. Okay, same stuff you're already used to. If you want to change where they are, that's also in the display tab, and you would X offset will move it left and right, Y offset up and down, width and height will obviously change width and height. So if you want something to be further out, closer in, bigger, smaller, that's where you'd edit those things. Icicles, right? So the icicles will be here, right? Obviously counting up to 5. When you get to 5 icicles, they will get bigger and then turn white. Just kind of another visual that says you're at max stacks, and if you're talented into Glacial Spike, you can cast it then. That's kind of why I made it turn white, just to get another visual that you're at max and need to send it. Flurry charges. I think they look pretty cool. These little snow globe looking things to the left and right of the icicles. So if you have a flurry charge, you'll see 1. If you have 2 flurry charges, you'll see 2. And if you don't have any flurry charges, those won't be there. I think they look very cool. Yes, that is a snowflake inside, like literally a little snow globe. And yes, I made all of these things by layering a bunch of stuff. Okay, and then Winter's Chill, right, is these again kind of snowflake looking things. Not exactly a snowflake, but still kind of has that snowflake-ish effect. So when you have Winter's Chill active on a target, you will see that there. Comet Storm looks like that by itself, but it's usually hidden a little by Frozen Orb, right? I think that just kind of adds to the visual effect of Frozen Orb, but this is Comet Storm. When Comet Storm is off cooldown, you'll see that image on your screen. Again, this is why I like to be in control of where Brain Freeze is, right? Because then, move this up some, because then I know I'm not going to overlap with the images, the Weakauaras I put in between Icicles and Brain Freeze. And then Frozen Orb will be on top of it. It is, if you want to see it by itself, oops, it's just that, right? Again, trying to look like a Frozen Orb with a little swirly stuff around it. So just trying to mimic the visuals you'd see in game. When Frozen Orb is off cooldown, you will see that icon. And then that's Comet Storm with it. So you can kind of see how those kind of play on each other. Comet Storm's a 30-second cooldown, Frozen Orb a minute, I think, with a little bit of CDR. So you'll see those. You'll see this independently enough, And if you want it to have its own spot, you can move it. Freezing Rain. So if you're talented into Freezing Rain, making your blizzards instant cast after you've sent Frozen Orb, you'll see that. These will appear when, one, you have the buff, right? So you have the Freezing Rain buff, and two, Blizzard is off cooldown. So if you see those on your screen, that means you can cast Blizzard, if talented in Freezing Rain. Ray of Frost, I'm torn. If you didn't want to play with this, I wouldn't blame you. You can either right-click and delete Children in Group. It's not going to break anything else in the Weakura pack. Everything works independently. It's fine. Or you could go to the Load tab and check Never, and then it will never load. All right? And unless you decide to uncheck that box, and then it'll load again. But I like it and I don't like it, right? I wish I felt like it went a little better. I really like this image. This is obviously just taken and resized from a different spec. I really like that image. I think it looks really cool. I just wish it had a little better symmetry and flow with these. Maybe if I switch their positions, but I don't know. Something about it visually doesn't always do it for me, except for the fact that you realize those won't be there all the time. Right, and it was still nice to know when Ray of Frost was off cooldown, but it is a minute CD, and if you have no problem tracking it, right, because a lot of the other stuff you'd want to track is on the screen: Flurry Charges, Frozen Orb, Comet Storm, Winter's Chill, Icicles, all that stuff is going to be on the screen already. Maybe you don't need to track the minute cooldown of Ray of Frost, and you can get rid of that. And then Icy Veins, just a boring little progress bar, and to go with Icy Veins is Death Chill. So you know how many stacks of that you have. And then a cast bar that you'll probably want to move. I have it way at the bottom here. It'll be blue for Frost. And that's it for like the base UI, the base Weakura pack for Frost. This cast bar is in Fire and Arcane, so if you download it in any of the other Mage Weakura packs, you'll have duplicate cast bars. You don't need that many, right? Whichever one says Mage Cast Bar 2 or Mage Cast Bar 3, you can delete those. No problem. As for the hero talents, Frostfire. This is what you'll see when you have Frostfire Empowerment. And here, let me put Fingers of Frost back in there. That's what you'll see when you have Frostfire Empowerment. Tucks inside nicely into your Fingers of Frost. So when that is active, your instant cast Frostfire Bolt. You'll see that image right there. Definitely Frostfire. And then outside of that this is for excess fire. So when you have the excess fire buff, you'll see this, a fire emblem. And this is excess frost, right? When you have excess frost, you'll see this like snowflake emblem just beneath it. When you have 2 stacks of excess frost, because it can go up to 2, this will turn white, right? So if it's white, that means you have 2 stacks of it. Otherwise, just the 1. And then for Spellslinger, I don't know you really would need to track anything, but if you want to, this is to tell you how many splinters you have active. Right, and then this is to indicate that Splinter Storm is hitting its target, right? So if you want to know that functionality, it's there again to know how many splinters are out, and then when you've launched a Splinter Storm and it's hitting your target, you'll see those things flash up on your screen. So that's it. Again, you don't really have to play with those. You can right-click and delete Children in Group. Everything else in the pack will work just fine, or go to the Load tab and check Never. If you've downloaded Fire already, you will already have a Frostfire pack. You don't need 2. They work for both of them. So you can delete the one that says Frostfire 2. And if you already downloaded Arcane, you already have Spellslinger. So you don't need both of them. They work intended for either spec that you're in, and you don't need one special for just the other. So that's it for kind of like the base aspect of Frost, the Weakauaras in it, and then the hero talents. And then I will clunkily go through so you can see what all the visuals look like on your screen. I am not a Frost Mage main, so if I mess up anything rotationally, don't sue me. I'm just trying to show how the Weakauaras work, and then you can perfect it on your own. You won't see anything on your screen until you're in combat, right? If that bothers you and you'd really like to know stuff outside of combat, like, you have all these CDs available, but you won't see them unless you're in combat, right? But if you'd like to know that and you want that on your screen all the time, in that same tab, that Load tab, you go to the Load tab and see where it says In Combat. Change that, right, to just be unchecked. Green means they'll only show in combat. Red means they'll show everywhere else except in combat, which would not be what you want. and then unchecked means it'll show all the time. All right, I'll leave it like that. So just to show you what it might look like, right? In combat, I have 1 flurry charge and 2 winter's chill. My icy veins is active. There's frostfire empowerment, right? And frozen orb and comet storm and all that good stuff, right? I have 2 stacks of excess frost, and again, I know someone might be like cringing at how I'm doing this. Again, I'm just trying to show how it looks. Oh, stay in combat though, so I can keep my Weakura showing up. Frozen orb, comet storm. You see when frozen orb is gone, you can kind of see what it looks like on its own. When you send frozen orb, it won't be there. Excess fire, right? So what that means, excess frost, 2 stacks of winter's chill. Right, and now I know I have no other cooldowns. Nothing else is available to me. There's a flurry charge back. All right, the only thing you may personally need to track, because there isn't anything in the Weakura that'll tell you, is shifting power and icy veins. And I don't have anything, obviously, in the Weakauras for your defensives and interrupts and things like that. Those you can just put on your bars and look at. But as far as like offensive CDs and things go, it's just the major cooldown, icy veins, 2-minute cooldown. I believe in your ability to check that one out for yourself. But that would be it, right? I have Comet Storm. I have 5 icicles, meaning I could do Glacial Spike. I have 2, now 1 of, now none for Winter's Chill, right? And I can see that my Frozen Orb is off cooldown. So the only other thing to show, fun times, only other thing to show, and Frostfire Empowerment again. Well, this is what I mean by 1 stack of excess frost, and 2, it turns white. Alright, and the only thing to switch would be in the AoE spec, where you would talent into Freezing Rain. Freezing Rain is what normal people say. Alright, so we'll switch into an AoE spec that takes Freezing Rain, so you can see what that looks like. The only other thing that I'm thinking I may want to add, maybe not, would be functionality for Cone of Cold, right? If you want to know, like if you're talented into Coldest Snap, you might want to know if Cone of Cold is available. But right now, I don't have anything for that. So that, in addition to your Icy Veins, Ray of Frost, add Cone of Cold to something you may be interested to track all by yourself. And if you feel like there's a good way to add it to this pack and it absolutely needs to be in there, let me know and I'll try to work it in. So then the only difference, right, was that whenever you have Frozen Orb active, you could see there was the Freezing Rain buff letting me know Blizzard is off cooldown, right, and it's ready to be instant cast. That's it. That's it, friends, right? I see my Frozen Orb is back. Blizzard is free to cast in an instant. Comet Storm is back. I'll tell you this, there's a lot going on with Frost. Woof! My brain can't do it. My brain can't do it. There, Freezing Rain's back. Maybe if I played it a lot and it was my main, I could do it. But that's it. That's everything for single target, for AoE. And I can switch over really quick to show you what I'm talking about with Leave Combat. Spellslinger. So now I would show you Spellslinger, just kind of like the splinter counter, really, and that everything else stays the same, but when you get a splinter, it'll tell you. Right? There'll just be a nice little simple splinter counter right there for you. All right, as it adds up, you'll see it, and then again, whenever you do launch a Splinter Storm and it does damage to your target, you'll see those other icons, these right here, flash up on your screen. So that's it. If you felt like I left anything out that absolutely needs to be included, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you like it. Have a good time. Again, I hope you found that helpful. I do intend to make a Weakura pack for every spec. So if I haven't made one for the spec that you play or that you'd like to see, just comment that down below. Again, I do intend to make one for every spec, but if I see people asking for it or really wanting one, I'll probably get to it quicker than if I just do it on my slow, leisurely pace. I hope it will enhance your gameplay. Like I said, it's all about gamifying the game and making it more fun and more immersive for you, while also helping you improve as a player, because the information that you need to react to is hopefully more readily available. If you have any other questions about this Weakura pack that you just watched or any other ones, again, please feel free to comment. I try to be as interactive as possible in my YouTube section. And that's it. Hope you have a great day.